Welcome to the world of stories. This is HRB Verse, where every story is real, heartfelt, and unforgettable. Subscribe now and become part of a journey you'll never forget. If you don't split the prize, get out, my father bellowed when I won $3 million. My response was sharp. Funny how you only care when I'm useful. My name is Lucas, and I've spent my life trailing behind my brother, Brandon. It's not a truth I enjoy admitting, but it's my reality. My parents, Susan and Thomas, always had a favorite, and it was never me. I'm not here for pity. I just need to share what happened recently, something that turned my world upside down, and get it off my chest. I grew up in a modest home in a quiet neighborhood. We were middle class, with a roof over our heads and food on the table. But there was always a clear divide in how my parents treated Brandon and me. From a young age, Brandon was the golden child, showered with praise. If he got a good grade, Mom would pin his report card to the fridge like it was a masterpiece. If I earned the same or better, I'd get a quick, good job before the conversation shifted. When Brandon wanted a new toy, they'd bend over backward to buy it. When I asked for something, they'd say it wasn't in the budget or that I had to earn it. It wasn't just about material things. Brandon was favored in every way. When college came around, my parents didn't hesitate to cover Brandon's tuition at a prestigious private university. "It's an investment in his future," Dad would say, while Mom nodded with pride. Brandon pursued business administration, and they saw him as the family's future mogul. Meanwhile, I was left to fend for myself. I wanted to study engineering, but when I asked for help, they acted like I demanded the impossible. "We can't afford it, Lucas. Find a scholarship," Mom said firmly, leaving no room for argument. So I worked. Days were spent waiting tables, nights were for studying to keep my partial scholarship. Still, it wasn't enough. I took out student loans, which still burden me years later. Brandon, on the other hand, lived carefree, expenses covered, with time for friends and vacations. I barely had time to sleep. I don't mean to sound bitter, but it's hard not to feel resentment when your parents treat you like you're less. I tried talking to them, asking why things were so unequal. "It's not that we love you less, Lucas," Mom would say. "Brandon just needs more help. You're strong, you can manage alone." Those words didn't comfort me, they left me feeling more isolated. Why did I have to be the strong one? Why couldn't I get the same support? Despite it all, I pushed forward. I graduated engineering school with top honors, but with debt that haunted me. I landed a job as a junior engineer at a construction firm. My salary barely covered loan payments, the rent my parents charged me to live at home, and basic expenses. Yes, I still lived with them, not by choice, but because I couldn't afford my own place. They charged me rent, something Brandon never had to pay. "You're working, Lucas. It's only fair you contribute," they'd say. Meanwhile, Brandon, who'd graduated, lived rent-free. Eventually, Brandon decided to start a business. A trendy urban clothing store, he called it. My parents backed him fully, dipping into savings they claimed didn't exist when I needed help with college. "It's a great opportunity," Dad said. "Brandon has vision, he'll go far." I watched quietly, wondering how they could be so blind. Brandon had no experience, no solid plan, and his idea seemed more like a whim than a serious venture. A year earlier, I'd pitched my own idea, a small engineering consulting firm with growth potential. I asked for a modest loan, less than what they spent on Brandon's outings. Their answer? A flat no. "We don't see potential in it, Lucas," Mom said. "It's too risky, stick to your job." It stung. They didn't even consider my plan or believe in my dreams. Meanwhile, I had a small vice, lottery tickets. It started as a silly escape, a way to dream of something better. Each week, I'd spend a few dollars, hoping luck might find me. It was my quiet rebellion, my way of clinging to hope. Dad and Brandon mocked me for it. "You're wasting money, Lucas," Brandon would smirk. "The lottery's for fools." I ignored them, stashing my tickets in a drawer and moving on. Months later, Brandon's business began to falter. I wasn't shocked. I'd seen his reckless spending and poor decisions. My parents, who'd poured everything into him, grew anxious as his debts piled up. Meanwhile, I kept working, paying my loans and rent, with no one checking on me. Then everything changed. One Friday night, I bought a lottery ticket as usual with no real expectations. That night, I watched the live drawing. The numbers appeared 7, 14, 23, 42. They matched my ticket. I checked it repeatedly, stunned. I'd won $3 million. I didn't scream or celebrate. I sat on my bed, staring at the ticket, overwhelmed with disbelief and joy. For the first time, I felt in control. But I knew I couldn't tell anyone yet, especially not my family. I didn't trust them. The next day, I visited the lottery office to confirm my win. It was real. They congratulated me, said the money would hit my account in 15 to 30 days, and gave me a giant ceremonial check for photos. I smiled for the cameras and went home, the check under my arm. When I walked into the living room, my parents and Brandon saw it. Their jaws dropped. "What's that, Lucas?" Mom asked, curious and skeptical. I paused, knowing my words would change everything. "I won the lottery," I said calmly. $3 million. Silence fell. Brandon gave a nervous laugh. "You, really, Lucas?" My parents didn't laugh. They looked at me like I'd done something wrong. Mom spoke first. "Lucas, this is a family blessing. You need to share it. Brandon's business is failing. He needs half to save it." I stared at her dumbfounded. "Half after everything." Brandon nodded. "Yeah, Lucas, it's only fair. We're family. You can't keep it all." I almost laughed but held it in. "Fair?" I asked. "You never supported me. You didn't pay for my college, left me drowning in debt, dismissed my business idea. But you gave Brandon everything. Now you want half." The room grew tense. Dad stepped forward. "Lucas, don't be selfish. If you don't give Brandon half, you're out of this house. We don't want ungrateful people here." I found my courage. "Fine," I said. "I'm leaving. And I'm done with you. You never believed in me. Now that I have something, I'm suddenly family? No thanks." The argument exploded. I laid out everything. How they funded Brandon's college, but not mine, gave him their savings while charging me rent. "It was always Brandon," I said. "I was just the one who had to survive." Mom claimed I was overreacting, that they wanted the best for everyone. Brandon called me jealous. I didn't argue further. I went to my room, locked the door, and planned my escape. The next morning, I noticed the ceremonial check was gone from my desk. Downstairs, I found my parents and Brandon at the dining table, the check torn to pieces. Brandon held scissors, smirking. Mom clutched a shred. Dad glared at me. "We warned you, Lucas," they said. "Since you wouldn't share, we destroyed your check. What now?" I burst into laughter, unable to stop. They looked at me like I'd lost it. "What's so funny?" Dad snapped. Wiping tears, I said, "That check's worthless, a photo prop. The real money's coming to my account in 15 days. Did you think you could ruin me with paper?" Their faces paled. Brandon dropped the scissors. Dad was speechless. Mom stammered, "Lucas, it was a joke. We were teaching you a lesson." "A lesson?" I snapped, my laughter gone. "To show I mean nothing to you, that Brandon's all that matters. No, Mom, this was spite. I'm done." Brandon pleaded, "Don't be selfish, man. My business needs help." I shot back, "Selfish? After you let me drown in debt, live rent-free while I paid, and got everything you wanted, I owe you nothing." Dad tried to lecture me about family duty. "This is my blessing," I said. "I bought that ticket you mocked. I won. I'm done." I packed my essentials, clothes, laptop, documents, and left. Mom begged me to stay, calling me ungrateful. Brandon shouted as I walked out. I didn't look back. The fresh air hit my face and I could finally breathe. Waiting for the money felt endless. I moved into a small apartment, buying just a mattress and basics. When the deposit finally hit, I stared at the zeros in my account, feeling free. I paid off my student loans first, lifting a massive weight. Then I bought simple comforts, a TV, a sofa, a laptop, nothing extravagant. I'd heard of lottery winners losing it all, and I wasn't going to be one. My family didn't stop. Mom left voicemails begging for Brandon's business. I deleted them. Brandon texted, calling me family and asking for help. I ignored him. Dad called, saying I couldn't abandon my brother. "What about me?" I asked. "What about the years you let me struggle?" He called me ungrateful and hung up. I wasn't surprised. I blocked their numbers and moved on. The guilt they tried to push on me lingered, but I remembered their actions and knew I was right. I owe them nothing. Now I stand in my apartment looking out the window, feeling something new, freedom. It's not just the money, it's knowing I don't need their approval. I'm enough. Their bet on Brandon failed, my bet on myself won. There's no going back. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories, get more experiences.